My boyfriend compares me to his ex-girlfriend. Constantly. For everything. And he genuinely doesn't understand why I have a problem with it. Let me paint you a picture. I've been dating this guy, let's call him Jake, for about 10 months now. When we first started dating, he mentioned he had a long-term ex, 3 years together. They broke up about a year before we met. Normal stuff. Everyone has a past. But somewhere around month 3, I started noticing a pattern. We'd be cooking dinner together. I'd be chopping vegetables. He'd walk by and say, "Oh, you chop differently than Emily. She did the claw thing with her fingers. It was really efficient." I said, "Okay, I've never been good at the claw thing. I haven't cut myself yet." He laughed. No judgment, just an observation. Fine, whatever. A few weeks later, we're at a restaurant. I order something. He looks at the menu and goes, "Emily always ordered the same thing here. She said their pasta was the best in the city." I said, "Do you want me to order the pasta?" He said, "No, order what you want. I'm just saying." Just saying. Then came the big one. We're at his friend's barbecue. I'm wearing this cute sundress I bought specifically for the event, feeling good about myself. We're mingling, having a good time. One of his friends says, "You guys are so cute together. Jake, you have a type, huh?" I laugh. "What do you mean?" The friend says, "Oh, nothing, just that you're both brunettes. Emily was a brunette too." I look at Jake. He's smiling, nodding. I let it slide. After the barbecue, I said, "Do people compare me to Emily a lot?" He said, "Sometimes you have similar energy." I said, "Similar energy?" He said, "Yeah, you're both outgoing, both funny, both into the same music." I said, "So I'm like a replacement Emily?" He laughed. "No, babe, you're your own person. You just have some similarities. It's not a bad thing." Month 5, we're at his place. I'm looking through his bookshelf. I pull out a book I've been wanting to read. He says, "Oh, Emily loved that author. She read everything by her." I put the book back. He says, "What? You can still read it. It's a good book." I said, "Does everything have to connect back to Emily?" He said, "I'm just making conversation. You're being sensitive." Month 6, his mom comes to visit. We all have dinner together. Nice evening. His mom is lovely. At one point, she looks at me and says, "You know, you remind me so much of Emily." Same smile. I choked on my water. Jake laughed. "Mom, don't say that." His mom said, "What? It's a compliment. Emily was beautiful." I excused myself to the bathroom for 5 minutes just to breathe. That night, I told Jake, "Your mom compared me to your ex tonight." He said, "She didn't mean anything by it. She loved Emily. They were close. She's just adjusting." I said, "Adjusting? We've been together 6 months." He said, "It takes time. Be patient." Month 8, we're talking about moving in together. Exciting stuff. We're looking at apartments online. I'm sending him listings. He says, "This one looks nice. Emily and I lived in a similar layout." I closed my laptop. I said, "Jake, I need you to hear me right now." He said, "What?" I said, "I don't want to hear about Emily anymore. Not what she cooked, not what she wore, not what she ordered, not what apartment she lived in. None of it." He looked genuinely confused. He said, "I'm not trying to compare you. She's just a part of my past. I can't erase 3 years of my life." I said, "I'm not asking you to erase anything. I'm asking you to stop bringing her up in every conversation." He said, "I don't do that." I said, "You do, constantly. You compare how I chop vegetables, you compare what I order, you compare my energy. Your friends compare my hair color. Your mom compares my smile. I'm exhausted." He got quiet. Then he said, "I think you're overthinking this." I almost walked out right there. Month 9, things are, okay, not great. He's tried to stop mentioning her, I think, but now I'm hyper-aware of every pause, every almost mention. Then came the breaking point. We're at his friend's wedding. Beautiful ceremony, emotional speeches, we're dancing, having a good time. At the reception, we're sitting at a table with his friend group. Someone's telling a story about a past trip. One of his friends says, "Remember that time Emily got drunk and tried to karaoke Backstreet Boys? Funniest thing ever." Everyone laughs, including Jake. I smile, say nothing. Later, Jake leans over and whispers, "You okay?" I said, "I'm fine." He said, "You seem quiet." I said, "Just tired." We dance a few more songs. Then we're walking back to the table and he passes a group of his friends. I hear one of them say quietly, "She's nice, but not as fun as Emily." I stopped walking. Jake didn't hear, kept walking. I stood there for a second. Then I walked to the bathroom and cried for 10 minutes. Not because of what the friend said, but because I knew Jake would defend them. I knew he'd say they didn't mean it. I knew I'd be the one who had to just accept it. We drove home in silence. The next morning, I brought it up. I said, "At the wedding, one of your friends said I'm not as fun as Emily." He said, "Who said that?" I said, "Does it matter? They said it. And the thing is, I believe them, because apparently Emily was funnier, prettier, smarter, and better at everything." He said, "That's not true." I said, "Then why do I hear about her constantly? Why do your friends compare me to her? Why does your mom compare me to her? Why do you compare me to her?" He said, "I don't." I said, "You do. Maybe you don't realize it, but you do. And I'm tired. I'm tired of being measured against someone I never met. I'm tired of feeling like I'm in a competition I didn't sign up for." He was quiet for a long time. Then he said, "What do you want me to do?" I said, "I want you to see me, not her, not a version of her, me. I want you to love me for who I am, not because I remind you of someone you used to love." He said, "I do love you." I said, "Do you? Or do you love that I fit into the space she left?" He didn't answer. That was 2 weeks ago. We're still together. Barely. He's trying. He stopped mentioning her. But now it feels weird. Like there's this elephant in every room, this ghost at every dinner. His friends are still weird around me. I can feel them comparing. I can see them thinking it. His mom sent me a Christmas card addressed to Jake and Emily by accident. She apologized, but the damage was done. I love him. I do. When it's just us, when she's not a topic, it's good. Really good. But I don't know if I can spend the rest of my life being compared to a ghost. So here's my question. Am I wrong for being this bothered? Is this just what dating someone with a long-term ex looks like? Does it get better with time? Or am I setting myself up for a lifetime of feeling second place to someone who isn't even here anymore? He wants us to move in together next month. I keep stalling. What would you do if your partner's past was a constant presence in your present? Because I'm genuinely lost.